there. I know you're going to get all the hot stories, so it's great to hear your voice and great to see you here in just a little bit. All right, so got our first battle here in 32. Chris the Force Forsberg qualifying 16th, Kyle Mohan qualifying 17th. Where are we going to land? So Forsberg, NOS Energy Drink, all new Nissan Xeon GT radial tires. Kyle Mohan here in his renewable lubricants, Motorsports RX-8. Forsberg comes out of the chute blazing, big angle, fills all that outside zone 1. Coming to outside zone 2, Kyle Mohan dives into the nose, good proximity, has to back off a little bit now into outside zone 3, fills all of it, and almost gets to that red and white wall. And again, just showing you the driving prowess. Now that last outside zone, keep in mind, if you hit that red and white, that is off course. So again, that red and white rumble strip on outside zone 4, that is, imagine, going off course, and is not forgiving at all as well. We've seen some cars hitting that earlier.
Yes, sir. So pay attention here to where both cars are placed. Forsberg in the lead, fills outside zone 1 nicely. You can see in the chase position there, Mohan not getting in the box. Mohan does a better job of mimicking Forsberg's line through outside zone 2, but then in 3, you can see Mohan's not in the box again while Forsberg is in it. And this is going to be a common theme throughout the night. Who's placing their car well in the box, and how is the chase car adapting to what the lead car is doing? And in this case, Forsberg did a really good job in the lead. He decelled in the right direction. He placed his car in the boxes really well, and he had good flow throughout the course. So Mohan had the perfect opportunity to chase well here, but had to make some compromises through a couple of zones. And you can see the lower angle there through outside zone number 3 as well from Mohan in the chase. So Mohan is going to have to perform at a high level right now. He's going to have to get his car in zone 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Forsberg just has to stick to the side of that car and mimic what he's doing to gain the win here.
Yeah, we've seen some simple mistakes, just, as far as, I liked what Sopa said earlier about pro spec. Sometimes it's that nickel part, and it's just that inches and seconds of that's really going to throw you off.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. So let's see how these two match up right now. Kyle qualified fairly high here, 17th versus 16, so
right
he's got
there.
a great opportunity.
Yep, fairly equally matched. I know Chris Forsberg here, he's going to apply the pressure. He can't just kick back here, but again, you don't want to apply the pressure too much. Again, we've seen some great things from Kyle Mohan. We'd love to see him advance, but you know who doesn't? Chris Forsberg. Here we go, Kyle Mohan in that second outside zone. He drags that tail in. There goes Forsberg, surging in attack. So a little bit closer proximity and really mimicking that angle. Both of them getting that third outside zone and that last and final outside zone, keeping it off the wall. Both of them go in. Looks like Kyle Mohan does exceed a little bit. Look like almost just dropping a tire as he hit that cone. Now that cone does denote the finish line. You need to keep control of your vehicle, which you have seen, and we have seen vehicles lose it and basically get incomplete.
Yes, we have. So Kyle does a better job in the lead here than he did in the chase earlier. You can see he's positioning his car in all the boxes. That's zone 2 right there, but Forsberg is mimicking exactly what he's doing. You can see he's on the same line right there. Kyle did not fill outside zone 3 completely. He got into the box, but he left it early. Forsberg was there to mimic what he was doing though, stayed with him. At the finish line, you can see Kyle went off the track a little bit, so he dropped the tire before and actually hit the end of the that cone there that marks the end of the zone. So let's have a look here at what we all said.
I assume they're going to slide them all left, you, Ryan, as well, and there it is. Unfortunately for Kyle Mohan, we saw, I mean, it was storming yesterday. If you haven't seen the videos, I saw Forsberg and his team holding the thing down. Tents went flying. I mean, we've had some crazy weather over the years, and we've had it here in St. Louis before. Here we go, Ula Yeager and Ryan Turk. So Ryan Turk will lead that Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla on Nitto tires. He is a rock star pilot, and he's a rock star. Ooh, drops a little tire there. We'll have to take a look at the overhead view, what we call the truth serum. Ula Yeager lacking that angle and that proximity. Now he throws it to the side. Ooh, barely didn't get an angle, but a couple car lengths back as Ryan Turk delivers on that outside zone 3. And again, Brett caught up with Ryan Turk talking about the car. Maybe an engine swap. I don't know. They changed out a lot of different pieces. So, maybe he's not exactly the most confident in that lead position. But Ula Yeager, Japan Auto Supra Mark IV. What do you think?
Well, Turk definitely had an issue there, let's call it, an outside zone number 1. We're not looking for drivers to drop a tire through there. It can hurt the momentum of the vehicle. It can hurt the line that they're carrying through that area as well, so the chase car needs to adapt to that. So as he comes through 3 to 4, actually this is 2 to 3 here, you can see that's where Ula drops off a little bit, but so precise here. Turk was right on the edge of that rumble strip, and he actually put rubber with kind of the part of the tire that wasn't actually touching the surface. It was the back side of the tire. So if you look at the rumble strip, it has rubber around the edge of it. So precise. Yep. But that's where Turk right there dropped the tire through outside zone 1. He maintained momentum. His angle wasn't affected too seriously, and it looked like Ula was able to just mimic what he was doing in the chase position without being affected by it. So it won't It's not ideal from Turk in the lead. So let's watch again here as he drops that tire. You can see the front left wheel coming off the ground because the car is kind of jacking there by dropping off. That has been dug out over the last few days pretty significantly. But a great lead run from Ryan Turk. Otherwise, it's just that tire drop is something that Ula will have to avoid doing in his lead while being just as precise everywhere else. The chase position, Turk has an opportunity here. Ula was a little bit far behind in a couple of areas, so Turk can really stick to his door all the way around the course and get an advantage in the chase-to-chase comparison.
And Ula could definitely put down a blazing run. We know this. I mean, we talk about cars and attrition. This car has seen so much competition over the years. Frederick Osbo, the 3-time champ, he piloted his car at one previous time. And here we go, Ula Jaeger, and look, he drops the tire. So kind of tit for tat here now. This is a good opportunity for Ryan Turk. I think a lot of battles will be won in the chase position. Now he's got that proximity. You can see him now dropping in, surging attack, trying to throw the hook out there in that Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla. The Rockstar pilot comes now in that last outside zone, and he drops the tire and he loops it. Ryan Turk has an incomplete. That you need, and we talked about this previously. That, my friends, does not have control over that finish line. This is a huge, huge blow and shock to Ryan Turk and his team. 32. Here we are.
Yeah.
That's a huge blow, and again, not taking anything away from Ula Jaeger, but just given, you know, Ryan Turk's past, his driving prowess, where he's at, he's got the car. This is going to be a very frustrating time for Ryan Turk.
Yes. Now, the only thing that I can say that changes a little bit in the chase position is it's not an automatic incomplete when you spin. It'll be based on what the lead driver was doing, but upon first view of that, it looked like Ula was doing what he was supposed to do, so that could be completely independent from Turk. Like you said, Ula dropped the tire in outside zone 1 just like Turk did. Turk was actually a little bit deeper maybe in outside zone 2. He's got his car so well positioned here. He's not super close. He's close, but he's in the right position. And right here, you can see that Ula did slow down a little bit there from the truth serum camera. So let's watch this again from the high-speed drone. Turk's right there with them, and they make a little bit of contact there. And of course, if that right front tire gets slowed down or braked, it's going to cause that car to over-rotate and spin. And it looks like Turk does have an issue with the car, needs to be towed off. So maybe something broke. Maybe the car's not running. I'm not sure what exactly happened. But we're going to have to talk about fault in this situation as to what occurred, which is going to bring us over to our replay system.
Yep,
go ahead. Analyze what's going on.
Get out of here, Ryan. Like I said, you're doing double duty, so you're going to converse. You're going to take a look at the replay here. So going into this last outside zone, looked like there might have been contact, and as Ryan was saying, now we need to deem who's at fault. Did Ula Jaeger impede on Ryan Turk to hit him, or was this just an independent incident for Ryan Turk, and he spun? And again, at first glance, it looked like it was independent, but as Ryan said, this is why we utilize the camera angles. Our judges, Ryan Lontaine, Robin Nishida, and Chris Ewell, and Sean Adriano, they are utilizing this, as well as Brian Egger. He's sitting out as driver steward. But let's run it back here with our United States Air Force instant replay. Ryan Turk being aggressive here. And you know what? Looking at that, slowing it down, I think the overhead is probably this. Watch this. So look at that smoke trail. You want to be on throttle. There are decel areas, but look at the minimization of smoke coming from Ula Jaeger's vehicle. Not that they're saying that he's off throttle, but if you float that and you check up the chase driver, Ula could very well be at fault. And this is where we're also going to utilize our decel lights. So basically, the kind of accelerator lights that show you if they're green, they are at acceleration. Also, here are the decel zones. So you are allowed to decel going into outside zone 4, but you kind of want to get back on throttle, and that's basically going to be a natural transition, because once you go to outside zone 3, you transition back, you kind of flirt with that wall. That's going to show you a good line, but you can see the blue area there, that's the outer zone. You need to fill that, but be on throttle. So you kind of not hit it and quit it, but basically you slow down naturally with the transition. So kind of allowed to decel here. Now power out, get back on throttle. This could be a very interesting turn of events here. You know, again, I've been wrong before, and at first glance, it looked like lay out and listen. So taking a look at this, there's Matt Sopa. Thank you, Matt, for having some dialogue with me during Pro Spec. It was obviously a pleasure wrapping out. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Ryan Turk, where are my Ryan Turk fans at? Where are my Ula Jaeger fans at? My dude's throwing up the deuce right there. Checking out my man in the Army right there. That's what's up. Hey, how's it going? Starting them young. Make sure, again, stay hydrated. Keep reapplying that sunscreen, please. All right, so our judge is still analyzing the runs and the angle. So the different perspectives, that's what it's all about. So you can see that back bumper there. Our judges this round of competition, obviously, it is not Brian Egger, it's Ryan Lontaine. It's Ryan Lontaine, Chris Yule, and Robin Ishida. We have 4 judges, and one gets rotated out 2 rounds of the year. So you'll judge 6 rounds collectively as far as pro goes. So Ryan, after looking at this,
yep,
what did you guys assess? And maybe talk about it after the outcome here, because you guys kind of went into it, and I saw you, again, utilizing all the different angles. At first glance, it looked like Ryan Turk looped it independently behind him,
yep,
but if Ula kind of floated it and became a roadblock, it very well could be Ula's fault, and the spin would not be Ryan's fault, it would be Ula Jaeger's fault.
Yeah, and I think I'm getting the feeling we're going to be split on this one, potentially, so I'd like to let the results come up before I say anything. I think everybody's
I think
votes are in.
everybody's submitting them.
I'll tell you maybe how I feel about it. Is everybody in already? We're good? No, we're not in yet. All right, so we'll leave it. But
yeah, just leave it at that. You guys are analyzing all these different perspectives. Again, we saw the decel area. Are you going to utilize the decel, the lights on the windshield?
No.
You're not.
In this case, I'm not using the decel lights. Personally, I'm looking at the attitude of the car, both cars. I'm looking at inputs from both cars. I'm looking at the line that both cars are on, throttle usage, all of those things.
Here we go. Slide him left for Ryan Turk, right for Ula Jaeger. And here we go. Ryan Turk gets the win, and it is unanimous. It is unanimous. So, Ryan, you're not utilizing the lights, but we are going back to the Joao-Chelsea Denova battle. We did not see either run. We had a restart, but then Joao called that competition timeout. So here we are on run 1 with Joao Barrion out front. Now transitioning into that second outside zone. Oh, and Joao Barrion comes out of angle. Don't know if he made contact with the wall as he goes into third. And Chelsea really applying the pressure. Now to that last outside zone, Joao flicks it in. Chelsea Denova almost gripping up. And wow, that got very, very precarious. Now keep in mind, Chelsea Denova was forced to go into his second run, and he qualified low because he had that incomplete on his first run, so was forced to go to the second run.
That's true. Looking at the initiation, great by both drivers. You can see Denova pretty close there. In the lead, Barrion drops a tire in outside zone 1, and right there loses angle, and it wasn't a wall thing. It just, I don't know what happened, but he definitely lost some power to the wheels there. It came out of drift, but not fully. And right here, it looks like Denova maybe gave him some space. I'm not sure if that was deliberate, but you can see the majority of the track, Denofa's right with him, doing everything, and right there you can see that maybe it was a missed shift. I'm not sure if that's a shift point for Barrion right there, but something definitely happened with the angle of his car through outside zone number 2. Solid through 3, and right there, Chelsea just backed off, and it almost looked deliberate, like, hey, I'm going to leave you a little bit of space. It looks like you're going in too fast, maybe, or I'm not sure what occurred there, but I didn't see anything that would cause Denova to fall off in that way for any other reason than on purpose, so I'm not sure what occurred in that area, but you could see that Barrion in the lead did go a little bit wide. He went in kind of on the wrong line through 4 and ended up dropping a tire near the end there.
Man, pretty crazy. Again, this is what we talked about earlier on the opening of the show. Anything can happen in 32. You can't just count your chickens before they hatch, right? You got all these different opportunities, different scenarios. Again, it's the marriage of man and machine, again, going against another man and machine or female machine as well. But here we are looking at Joao Barrion, the Brazilian driver, chasing down the Philly born and bred Chelsea Denova, Pensla, RCR, Ford Mustang. I know Boss Man's watching at home right now, or he's out in the desert ripping raptors, but goes in that second outside zone. Chelsea, massive angle from Denova. Joao shuts it down, and that's mechanical. Unfortunately for Joao Barrion, as long as Chelsea keeps it consistent, he's going to have the victory here. He's flirting with that loop in it, man. I mean, he's just maxing out that angle. Very aggressive. Is it too much too soon? You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm sure his spotter's like, Joao, shut down, you know, so keep it consistent.
Yeah, you can see Chelsea really pushed it through zone 4. He's a passionate guy. He's going to throw it in as much as he can, whenever he can. But in this run right here, you can see Chelsea did a great job in the lead. And the same place that Baryon had that bobble earlier in his lead run, in the chase, he shuts the car down. Potentially that's why Chelsea gave him some space. He knew that Baryon was having trouble with his car and he didn't want to get too close in a precarious situation. But right here you can see Baryon not really matching the line. He's not as deep in outside zone 1. Zone 2, he was doing a great job mimicking what Chelsea was doing, but then the car just gives up on him right there. And unfortunately he's going to have an incomplete for that straightening in that run. And that's going to probably end his day right here.
Yeah, unfortunately for Joao Baryon, you wonder why he called that comp timeout. We don't know officially. We know his spotter called it right when he had that restart, and he did and was able to call it, but unfortunately it wasn't enough, and the car breaks down, and Chelsea Nova advances on. So it's extinguished, ready to roll. Here we go, Dylan Hughes. Through that start chicane, we got a clean start, initiating that first outside zone. Dylan Hughes dropped a lot of tire there, but it looks like it could potentially just be one. Taylor Hull, that Comcams, Kenda Tires, Corvettes. Now coming to that third outside zone, Dylan Hughes seems to find the sweet spot right there. Now coming that last and final outside zone. Gets on the red and white. Wow, explodes that lap. Holy cow. Oh man, that rumble strip, that absolutely exploded that back right. I think there was going to be a leading edge on that white area. Whoo-wee, Rick. That thing exploded like a pinata, but there's nothing sweet in that pinata at all. Those Forge Stars took a licking, but keeps on ticking. Look at the abuse those wheels took. They're still round, those Forge Star wheels.
Was there a D-bead there at the finish, maybe? From
look at what he did. He exploded the rumble.
Thing. So if it is a D-bead, it's off course. He's allowed to change his tire, but he does need to call a competition timeout. So right here, as we look at the run, zone 3, great job from Dylan. In the chase, you can see that Taylor Hull's a little bit further behind, and there that nice exploding, wow, that was aggressive. So he had the exploding rumble strip plus hitting the dirt there at the finish line. He did drop part of the tire there off of outside zone number 1. Does a great job through 2, and this is where he starts to pull away from Taylor Hull. Taylor Hull was never really super close, but this is where he truly builds that gap. And then he gets a tire on the rumble strip, which is considered a tire off, of course, and then right at the finish there. Wow, did he get up on 3 or 2 wheels there when he hit the end of the track?
Yeah, hit the end of the track. Watch this, just bang, bongo, boom. Oh, holy cow. So violent. Yeah, it was violent. I mean, that front right, obviously the back right he hits, that sends him off course a little bit. Here's Ryan Turk. Ryan Turk, say what's up, man. We're live with your GoPro, but
he's ignoring you.
No, I don't think he can hear me. So there he is, Ryan. That's you, buddy. Hey, congratulations.
Oh, look at me over there.
Look, he's wiping his brow. He's eating his peppers, his signature Ryan Turk pepper. There it is.
What a healthy guy he is, eating his green pepper with a bottle of
Rockstar. Yeah. Again, look at those Forge Stars. Took a hit. So again, Ken Gushi, one of the day oneers. He's been competing in 2004, many different manufacturers and tires and all that, and here he is again. He started when he was 16 years old. You can do the math right there. It says he's 36. He started when he was 16 years old. It's absolutely awesome. But he's going against Daniel Stuckey, who was definitely a fierce competitor. Oh, look at that. Stuckey kind of checking up a little bit to just size him up here in that first outside zone, that V6 Turbo GR86, very smooth by Ken Gushi. Now Stuckey lunges forward. He has to back off once again, and then into that third outside zone. How's he going to handle this transition? Into that decel area, they are allowed, but then drops it right into formation and then pops up as Daniel Stuckey's trunk is flapping in the wind. And here we go. Again, he is the chase vehicle, so just relax. It only adheres to the lead vehicle. So as Daniel Stuckey crosses that finish line in the chase position, and Ken Gushi leads him on through.
As they drive up to initiation, nice little flick from Gushi right there. You can see in the chase position that Stuckey's not in the right position, and it's apparent as he approaches outside zone number 2 because he's very far inside, not really matching where Gushi's going. But then he gets on the same line through the kind of halfway through 2 and through 3, and then as they go to outside zone number 4, Stuckey makes contact with the wall. You can see his trunk flap open right there as he makes contact with the wall. So let's watch this from the high-speed drone to see a little more up close what happened. You can see Stuckey leaves that zone really early, and he's on a really tight line approaching 4. Doesn't get into it. Does a poor job through there, I would say, the chase position. As he gets through outside zone number 3, though, gets back offline, transition here, and then boom, right there is where he hits the wall, pops his trunk off. And Jared was referring earlier to if anything opens on a lead car, such as a hood, trunk, hatch, the roof flies off, which has happened, I'm not making that up, then it can be considered a distraction to the chase driver. But in this case, it was the chase driver who tapped the wall and had his trunk open, so that will not be held against him, other than the wall tap kind of upsetting his kind of line and angle through there. So
yeah, the attitude of the vehicle. Hey, if you haven't picked up your Lean Customs pins, Lean Customs sponsoring Matt Field, and it creates all these pins. Nick Novak's was made this round of competition. I can't remember who the other ones were, but again, limited edition. So check them out at every round of Formula Drift, or go to Lean Customs. They just dropped one on Network of a John Sabal's vehicle. So love the guys at Lean. Shout out to Hansel and the guys. Here we go. Now Daniel Stuckey will lead M-Spec Performance S15. Sopa giving a thumbs up. Here we go. Daniel Stuckey will lead M-Spec Performance vehicle. Ken Gucci giving chase. Gucci kind of out there. He needs to join the party, and he does. He gets right in formation in the pocket, as we describe it, in the second outside zone. Very good by Daniel Stuckey. And down into that third outside zone, Ken Gucci quite a few vehicle lengths back into that final outside zone goes Stuckey, and both of them executing it. But again, Ken Gucci needs to join that conversation, kind of few cars back. What are your thoughts there, Ryan, as we take a look at it once again?
I saw a couple of big handbrake pulls from Stuckey, so I'm not going to have to pay attention to that. First one was at initiation. There's no decel zone at initiation, so you kind of see a longer handbrake pull there. Gucci was close. I don't know if it affected him, so let's watch the replay again. I'm sure we'll have a couple of them to watch. And then right there, I think Stuckey had another one in zone 2. Through 3, you can see Stuckey mid to wide line there. Gucci mimicking pretty well, and then through zone 4, Stuckey does have a wider line, but in the chase position, Gucci is a little bit inside. So let's watch right here. If you look at Stuckey's back wheels, yeah, there was a handbrake pull right there in the zone, which is not really where we want to see that. We're looking for throttle in that location. So that has the opportunity to maybe throw Gucci off a little bit. And then Gucci, like I said, is just a little bit inside there at outside zone 4. Could be a little further out, a little bit wider out to where he should be. But overall, I think Gucci did a really great job leading and chasing. Stuckey had some moments of brilliance, but Stuckey's big mistake was missing the majority, or at least the last maybe 2/3 of outside zone number 1, and being on a poor line in the chase position going into outside zone number 2, which he also missed the majority of. So that's going to weigh pretty heavily on the decision here, and I think it might go towards Gucci.
All right, well, we'll see. Again, you chose Ken Gucci, and there it is. Kenshiro Gucci gets the win. Daniel Stuckey knocked out.
But if it gets knocked out of the box that it's in on the ground, that's considered a command. So the restart was full.
Okay, thank you very much for clarification. Taylor Hull leading. See if Dylan Hull, oh boy.
Wow, he dropped the tire very aggressively off the track there, and it seriously affected. I think it debeated that tire, and it sent the car kind of jumping off the off side of the track there. So that is the big result of dropping a tire now in that zone. Outside zone 1 has been worn out from tires being dropped in that area over and over again. And it looks like Taylor Hull was the victim of getting that tire down in the dirt, and it just hooked up, debeated the tire, and kind of threw the car up in the air.
Watch this. The wheel just digs in and just straightens it out. That could have been a lot worse, unfortunately, for Dylan Hughes, but Taylor Hull looked like it was an independent incident. You see him just initiate. That back right goes off, digs in, straightens him out, and he, again, goes continually off course. So unfortunate for Taylor Hull. Dylan Hughes.
You did it again.
I know. Well,
Taylor Hughes.
H-U.
I know.
Again, I'm a visual person. I could see the H and the U, and I continue doing that. All right, so hey,
it's fine, Jared.
I know it's fine.
I'm not giving you a hard time.
You sound like Ryan Sager. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Speaking of Royal Purple, if you haven't been by the Royal Purple booth, Royal Purple, the synthetic experts, the official engine oil of Formula Drift. Dylan Hughes will be over there during halftime break. Place your bets if you haven't, either in fantasy or actual monetary gain. Do it now. Just pick a side. Available to play in 33 states. This is Formula Drift Fantasy. Freddie, field, pick red, pick blue. Take the red pill, take the blue pill. This ain't the Matrix. This is Formula Drift Fantasy. So join the action now. Scan that QR code. Visit FormulaD.com as the outcome. Be inputting them here. Slide them left for Hughes, right for Taylor Hull. And Dylan Hughes gets the win. Dylan Hughes unanimously gets the win. So elaborate here. He did have to use his comp timeout, correct?
I'm not sure what happened with that.
Okay.
We just told him to get
on the grid. So Odie Bakshi's will lead, Mike Power giving chase. And here comes the field suspension, S15. Now transitioning into that first outside zone. Good, aggressive initiation from Mike Power. Big angle there from Odie Bakshi's. Mike Power, good proximity, very smooth. Pulling away from Power is Odie Bakshi's. Now into that third outside zone. Man, really flirting with that red and white wall. Outer zone 3, and then drops it right into that last outside zone, staying clear and away from that red and white rumble strip, which again is off course. Treat that like grass, treat that like a wall.
All right, so Odie here initiating, getting the car to angle really nicely. Mike Power in the chase position, doing a good job through outside zone 1, but I think it falls apart a little bit through outside zone 2. You can see right there he had a bobble, a hesitation, while Odie's doing a great job through zone 2. In the chase, Mike Power kind of had an issue there, and then didn't fill 2, didn't fill 3, and a little bit inside of 4 as well. So Mike Power's missing a big chunk of these zones. He did a great job in 1. Look at where his top car is positioned. That is a good place to be. Could be a little bit closer, but right there, misses outside zone 2 by a large margin. And then outside zone 3, not great there either. Outside zone 4, same thing. So 2, 3, 4, he had an issue in, but 1 he did great. So we switch positions now. Odie did a really clean lead run, put this car very precisely where it needed to be, slowed the car down properly. So Mike Power needs to do at least that to stay in the game. And in the chase position, basically Odie just has to mimic what he's doing, stay with him, and he'll be fine, comparison-wise.
Yeah, nothing extraneous is what you're saying. Yeah,
because Mike Power did make a lot of errors there. In qualifying, that would have been 30 points off right off the bat just for being offline like that. So we really need those chase drivers to clean it up. So in this case, Odie just needs to match the line, the angle, stay close.
All right, here we go. Mike Power out front. As you said, he needs to throw down a banger of a lead run, and he does. Look at that big, nasty initiation from Mike Power. That's the aggressive driver we know and love, the Type S S15 from the East Coast. Now into that third outside zone. He's doing exactly what you asked, Ryan, and look at this. Now in that last outside zone 4, big angle. He comes up a bit outside. He hits it and quits it, gets out about halfway through outside zone 4, but what great driving there. That, I mean, talk about X factor. If he did that in qualifying, you talk about qualifying, the deficit, but was it enough?
Right, great initiation, like you said, great angle through outside zone 1. The line was perfect, was right on the edge of the track. Does a great job in zone 2. Odie's right there with him though. Not as close as we'd like to see, but again, you can see there he left a little bit early. In outside zone number 3, that's Odie I'm talking about, but right there, Mike Power does not fill outside zone number 4. I think Odie, lead to lead, did a better job. And if you go chase to chase, Odie did have a couple of flubs there, wasn't perfect in the chase position. We have a side-by-side. It's the BC Racing side-by-side.
BC Racing, go for gold side-by-side.
So we're going to watch that side-by-side and really compare. Hopefully they'll be lined up really well. The guys have been doing a great job for us so far, and we'll be able to compare really well what happened here. All right, so it's high in the sky, it's the perfect view. As they both get to angle, you can see Odie's on the inside a little bit, so I think Mike Power did a better job in the chase in zone 1, but that's where his chase kind of falls apart a little bit. You can see Odie doing a much better job of mimicking what Mike Power was doing there in Mike Power's lead run. And as they transition, pretty similar through outside zone 418. Power is a little bit further inside. Odie is definitely on the right line. Proximity-wise, very similar, but I think that the errors that Power made in his chase run are just too big to overcome.
All right, let's take a look. Are we going to get a verdict here? I know I'm seeing you type yours in or punch yours in.
All right, here it is.
And here it is. Slide him left for Odie, right for Mike Power. We get Odie Bakshi gets the win unanimously. So Odie gets the win. All right, moving on to our next battle. Get some texts. Let's see what we got here. Adam LZ. Adam LZ leads that run, goes into that first outside zone. And look at that, applying the pressure. The beast from the Bay, leaving no room for error in that second outside zone. Look at the angle from Adam LZ. Matt Field not backing down, not giving any room to breathe. Into that third outside zone. How are they going to manage this? The last outside zone. Both of them flicking in there. Really well done. Again, aggressive, man. Here we are in the 32. Adam LZ, who, you know, can't really go for a championship. This is his last event of the 4 that he's going to do this year.
Yeah. great initiation by both drivers. You can see that right there, LZ did drop that tire, and I think it maybe slowed him down slightly, but you could see in the chase position that maybe Field was affected by it because his zone 2 was not great in the chase position there. Field does get back on the line and matches what LZ's doing through the majority of the course, but it's right here in zone 1. Yeah, that could be due to LZ being off track and potentially slowing down a little bit and threw Matt Field off in that section. That is a possibility, but Field did get back on it and get back to the right line. Not super close in proximity, but was mimicking pretty much what LZ was doing. So that outside zone 1 is going to be causing some problems. It already has caused some big problems for a couple of drivers, and I think it's going to continue to do so. You just got to keep that car on the track. Once you throw it in, the thing there is it's very difficult to gauge the grip level. You know, as you throw it in, you're trying to, we try to get this out of the drivers, but they always try to get away from the chase drivers. So if they can go a little bit faster and be right on the edge, sometimes they push a little too much. They go a little bit too fast and they drop that tire, and it's always going to start rearing its head as we get further into competition here.
Yeah, kind of outkick your coverage. Don't overcook it, as you say, but keep it on the track, keep it with good angle. And I'll tell you what, Matt Field, watch this. I think he's going to go for it really big. He knows that LZ has it under the hood of the RTR and in the cockpit. Now in that second outside zone, good flick. Really good and fluid by both the drivers in outside zone 3. How's Matt Field going to manage? Really close to that wall, little shimming there from Adam LZ in that chase position. Matt Field running right to the edge of the track. Man, we are splitting hairs here, and this is showing that the cars are coming alive. They figured it out. Like I said, man and machine are in synchronicity. Great job by both the drivers on this battle here in the 32.
Yes. Matt Field definitely more accurate here in outside zone 1. Look at where he is on the edge of the track. In the chase, LZ not as deep as Field was, taking advantage of that slight compromise of being inside a little bit there, but manages to do better in the proximity game than Matt did in his chase. But LZ has the benefit of a really solid lead run. What happened in the first run with LZ dropping a tire and potentially throwing Matt off could affect him pretty seriously, but that's going to be up to the other judges to decide on their own. You know, my opinion is my own for my decision. But I really like where Field did in the lead here. He poured on a little bit of angle there at the end of zone 1 and got himself into a big flick for outside zone number 4. So from 3 to 4, really great job by both drivers. LZ did have good proximity and mimic throughout the run, but again, he had the benefit of a really clean lead run.
All right, waiting for the verdict. Sopa looking, and you know what's looking on right now? Odi Bakshis, because whoever wins goes against Odi Bakshis. So there we are in the pits, analyzing the run, seeing, you have your spotter, which Odi has his wife, Amy, but again, the Bakshis camp has a lot of knowledge with the track. Think about Ben Hobson, just one pro spec. That's who's on his team. Simon Olsen, he's here in pro. So they're gonna have a lot of feedback, a lot of insight on this track. So slide him left for LZ or right for Matt Field, and Matt Field gets the victory unanimously. Now, Ryan, again, Adam LZ, great effort there, going against the points leader. What were the standout elements? Qualifying second, so right now, some more BMWs for your diet. Here comes Jonathan Hurst into that first outside zone. Big angle there. Kind of leaving Trent Beecham in the dust, or in the smoke in this case. No dust being thrown up into that third outside zone. Look at Jonathan Hurst. Really placing the car in the right places. Trent Beecham needs to catch up. Man, Jonathan Hurst, look at this run right there. I mean, as far as qualifying, that'd be in the high 80s, maybe even the 90s. Again, Jonathan Hurst, really, really well done by him.
Yeah, great lead run from Hurst. He was right on the edge of outside zone 1. That tire was probably hanging over the edge, but it didn't end up in the dirt. So his momentum was good, his line was good. You can see he's right there on the edge. A little bit less angle from Beecham in the chase position, sort of on the same line, but then comes off the line. Doesn't fill outside zone number 2. Going towards outside zone number 3. Beecham does have a little bit less angle. Proximity's not there. He didn't fill outside zone number 3 the way that Hurst did. Outside zone 4, sort of the same situations. Let's watch again here from the high-speed drone as they come through zone 1. Great job from Hurst in the lead position. Beecham's just trying to catch up, it looks like, in the chase position there. He needs to get his car better positioned and get it closer. Misses part of outside zone 3 there. And as they transition, he over-rotates the car for that corner and the speed that he had going in it, and he wasn't able to fill 4 and still wasn't able to make up that proximity gap. So as they swap roles now, Beecham is going to be in the lead. He needs to run right on the outside edge of outside zone 1. He needs to fill 2, fill 3, fill 4. And in the chase position now, Hurst has an opportunity to better mimic what Trenton's doing in the lead, get on the same line, stay close.
All right, come on now, Trent Beecham. Thrown down for the West Coast, and look at Jonathan Hurst right there riding on the door of Trenton Beecham. Very good angle from Trenton Beecham. The Mr. Cool BMW has to back off a little bit, but then he lunges back forward. And now to that last outside zone, a big flick by Beecham, but he ends up coming up just a bit short, some contact banging on it. And again, trying to come unwound, but again, makes his presence felt physically and kind of mentally there. Because, again, Beecham tried to throw it in that last outside zone, just comes up a bit short.
Beecham went for it here. He really had a great initiation. He was on the edge of the track, but look who's right there beside him, Jonathan Hurst, not giving him an inch. You can see right there how they both went through zone 2. Beecham was a little bit deeper. Hurst wasn't filling it quite as well. Same thing for 3, but I think that Hurst did a much better job there than he did in 2. But outside zone 4 is where Beecham did not fill that zone. He didn't get all the way out, which in the lead position, when Hurst was in the lead, Hurst did a better job through that section. It looked like Beecham had to pull some angle out through outside zone 3, maybe getting too close to the wall. He went a little bit low angle through that area. So overall, I think that Beecham went for it, especially the angle he threw through 4, but he wasn't on the quite on the right line. Had he thrown that amount of angle and been on the right line, his zone 4 would have been incredible. But you can see, even though he was slightly offline there, Hurst was with him, followed him where he was going, stayed nice and close and mimicked his line.
Yeah, again, a great effort by Trenton Beecham. Just Hurst was just that much more refined. He just that little scotch that just made it, again, just that much richer.
Yeah, just a little bit more.
Yep.
Hurst, of course, has a little more experience in that BMW. You know, Trent, this is his first season, I believe, in the BMW,
yes,
so get him a little more seat time in there, tune the car a little bit better. He definitely has a lot of potential, and he showed that in his lead run here.
At Vitor BMW, next up, Frederick Osbo, the Rockstar Energy Drink, Toyota GR Supra Nitto tires. Freddie going against Alec Robbins. We've seen some great things from Alec. Now, like we said, in Jersey, Frederick Osbo out early in 32, suffered some issues there, but now, I mean, there's a lot at stake here for the Norwegian Hammer. Alec Robbins, like I said, we've seen some great things from him here in St. Louis. He got #1 qualifier before here, so look out. Alec Robbins ain't no pushover. And again, but Frederick Osbo, like I said, 3-time champion and defending champion. Not 3 in a row, but overall, definitely he is one to watch. So Alec Robbins chasing him down in that self-made status .co 350Z powered by Holly EFI. You can see Alec Robbins doing a little stutter start here. Dean Carney from Ireland. So contact there.
Yeah.
So Osbo says, I saw Stefan Papadakis pop up here into the judging booth and say, hey, let's get an inspection on that because there was contact made.
Yeah.
That could, you know, as kind of mild as it may look, it might be actually more wild than it seems.
For sure. So let's look at how both cars are moving here as they get into the initiation. It looked like Robbins was clearly very aggressive as he went into outside zone 1, tried to get really close to Osbo. He knew he needed to get close immediately because he would never be able to catch up to that Toyota Supra later on in the track. It was either get close soon, take a chance to get there and stay with him for the entirety of the run, or stay back and hope for the best.
Could it be James Dean? Well, guess what? Robert Thorne, our Prospect champion from 2022, would love to put a halt to that, but James Dean will lead. James Dean again out-qualifying Robert Thorne. Into this first outside zone, James Dean, massive angle there. Robert Thorne drops in the formation, not as deep, but now he gets that great proximity there. James Dean, clean and smooth and tiny in the outside zone. Great dragging bumper. It bounces back now in his final outside zone. Goes James Dean using all the course. Wow. But I tell you what, Robert Thorne was right there. Really good job. I got to tell you, on initiation, outside zone 1, it seemed like Robert was a little bit off, but then he got right to the side of him. But look at the placement of James Dean's car. I mean, the bumper, I believe, compressed and then went right back out.
Yeah, that would have been a really high-scoring qualifying run, I think, Jared. You can see Thorne in the chase position there doing his best, not quite on the widest line and not really matching the angle until right about here. but James Dean, just the widest run you could possibly have without putting the car into the wall in a serious negative way. Like you said, the bumper sort of compressed on outside zone number 3, but look at that, beautiful job there. Thorne is not an outside zone 1, but making that compromise to maintain proximity and hoping that it pays off for him in the long run. And watch, look at that, right on the wall, all the way through there is James Dean. Good transition from both drivers, but Robert Thorne is making some compromises to maintain that proximity, and that's sort of what you have to do in the chase position when you're up against a faster car, which potentially this is. So you have to compromise line, angle, whatever you can to maintain that proximity. And of course, proximity looks good, right? That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
But as we analyze a little bit closer, we're going to be looking at how each driver is making compromises to maintain that proximity. So you do have to try to stay on the right line, mimic the angle. But of course, it's all comparative. So what is James Dean going to do in the chase position now with Robert Thorne? Thorne has to put his car everywhere perfectly to just match what James Dean did in his lead run. So right on the edge of the track in 1, right on the wall in 2, in 3, and in 4. Otherwise, he's going to have a deficit to James Dean's lead. And then in the chase position, Dean needs to match what Thorne's doing. So get his car positioned in the pocket, keep that proximity on, and everything else, of course.
Here we go, Robert Thorne out front. I got to tell you, his driving has progressed here in Pro. This is rookie year in the Pro Championship. James Dean looks like he's given a little bit of breathing room, but maybe too much. Nope, now he gets right to the side of him. Now catching up into that third outside zone. Great job by Thorne. Look at this, Thorne out front. He's putting down a heater of a run. Robert Thorne looks like he exceeds that red and white. He does drop a little bit of a tire on the red and white rumble strip. And here we are taking a look at it. So, man, some great driving there by both the guys.
Great initiation from both drivers here. You can see that in the chase position, Dean is cheating a little bit, making a bit of a compromise, and going into outside zone 2 as well in the chase position. In the lead, Thorne is putting his car where it should be. He left outside zone 3 a little bit early, but overall doing a great job. And in the chase, you can see that James Dean is sort of making a couple of compromises himself. Not as bad as what Thorne did, but just a couple of little ones here and there. Thorne does a good job through zone number 2. Not quite the angle that we'd like to see through that zone. He sacrificed a little bit there in the lead position. But overall, great job by Robert Thorne here against how many years champion is James Dean?
3.
3 years.
3-time back-to-back-to-back, 3 in a row,
yeah,
notably. So again, great driving by Robert Thorne. I know making the jump from Pro Spec to Pro with the ASM, the Smetagard Racing, a traditional race car driver, a very, very talented driver. But let's see where we're at, and we're taking a look at Frederick Osbo's camp. Look like I did see him change out the Forge Star wheels with some Nitto tires. But let's see, again, James Dean, you know, again, that RTR camp with that 3-peat graphic, the shirt, all that, but can he be a 4-peat, or 4 in a row, excuse me. James Dean, sliding left for him, right for Robert Thorne, one more time, and, here we go, Dean Carney. He's definitely wants to show up here, driving that Hyper NFT Dodge Viper, shots fired across the nose of that BMW, but here he is. So again, man, it looked like he dropped tire, but did not see any dust being kicked up at all. And like you said, Ryan, you're talking about how this vehicle really likes throttling down. It looks like he zip-tied that throttle pedal down. It seems to be working out for him in that final outside zone, throwing Brandon Sorensen maybe a little bit off there into that final outside zone, but again, allowed to decel, and then he stayed on the throttle. He didn't nail that last outside zone, but the 1 through 3, like I said, take note, it looked like the attitude of the car dropped like he dropped a tire, but there's no dust. So I don't know if he even touched dirt.
Maybe we've gone down to the concrete under the dirt that was there, but he definitely did drop a tire. Like you said, not a lot of dust or any at all. In the lead position, Dean's doing a good job through zone 1 and 2, minus that tire drop in 1, of course. In the chase position, though, look at Sorensen right there with him, mimicking line, mimicking angle. The one big mistake that Dean Carney made was outside zone number 4. He left the zone early. He didn't fill it fully. So right here, Dean Carney drops that tire, but overall keeps the momentum going, flowing really well. And you can see right there is where Sorensen sort of compromises on the line, gets outside of the box, but he did so to gain the momentum he needed to stay in proximity through 3 to 4, and then drops off through 4 a little bit. Now they got to switch positions. Then you have to wonder how well this car is set up, Sorensen's car, because it is a car that's set up for Pro Spec that runs on a narrower tire. Is the power the same? It looks like it is. It looks like it performs
comparable.
very well, right? But now it's performing on a bigger tire, so they may have had to do some changes in suspension to get it to operate, with this bigger tire. But he's making it work, and he needs to do a little bit better through 1, not drop a tire. He needs to do better through 4 by staying on that wide line, and that'll give him an advantage against Dean's lead.
Well, here we go, Brandon Sorensen now coming through. Remember, we have that one more time of Thorne and James Dean, but right now Brandon Sorensen. So there we are, dropping tire. These guys, again, maybe getting too aggressive. Maybe the grip levels are changing as well. Now into that 3rd outside zone, Brandon kind of shimmies his way in there. He gets out to the outside zone. Dean Carney trying to hold tight and keep that proximity. He does tap that wall, and whoa! And Brandon shuts it down across the finish line. Looks like he lost power, and he goes on the side of him. He did complete that run there, but shut it down very abruptly after the finish line. Don't know exactly why, and I know Dean can sometimes get spirited, like, what the, I can imagine that's what's going to go down. But here, let's look at it again.
I think the bigger issue here is going to be what happened. The lead right there from Sorensen. He got the tire in the dirt, and it affected his angle, and then it threw him off. He missed outside zone 2. You can see low angle there approaching zone 3. And as he transitions for 4, this is where Dean Carney taps the wall but stays in drift. But right there at the finish line, you can see that Sorensen did not stay on throttle. He did shut it down. Potentially a mechanical issue.
Well, I think an incomplete, right? I mean, I think that's what your fellow judges are talking about right now. If you run it back, I think going from 1 to 2, you saw him hit. It gets disrupted, the car goes out of attitude, and then throws up a roadblock. We saw this in Prospect earlier, and I think that's where it kind of quickly ends for Brandon Sorensen. So as he waves to the crowd, unfortunately, I think he waves goodbye because he's going to be knocked out here, unfortunately, due to that incomplete. Yeah,
there are 2, even at the finish line, you could say that was an incomplete because he didn't cross the finish line with power and complete the course and control. The car shut down, whatever the issue was. So 2 areas where you could theoretically incomplete him, but the first one would be outside zone 1, where he drops a tire, straightens up, and that's going to be the I would say official incomplete.
All right. Yeah. All right. So slide him left for Dean Carney or right for Brandon Sorensen, and Dean Carney gets the win. So an incomplete was definitely the nail in the coffin for Brandon. Nissan 350Z powered by Holley EFI, and then of course in that rearview mirror, Frederick Osbo, the Norwegian Hammer, and the Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota GR Supra. 3-time champion. He's on those Nitto tires. Slow crawl out of the gates. What is Robbins going to do? He initiates in that first outside zone. Everybody dropping that tire, man, getting that dirt roost in that second outside zone. A little wonky, shuts her down. That's going to be a wrap for Alec Robbins, unfortunately. And Freddie does not need to complete the rest of this run because of that lead car. So unfortunately, there was contact made, and that's just going to be the nail in the coffin, unfortunately, for Alec Robbins. As he shuts it down, Osbo will get the victory.
Yeah, unfortunately for Robbins, he just went a little too aggressively into the first corner, into outside zone 1. And he's not the first driver to do it. We've seen it from many drivers here today. And these drivers just need to stay in control a little more, keep that car right on the edge of the track. We know they're capable of it, but of course, like we said earlier, when you're in the lead position, especially up against a 3-time champ like Osbo, you're trying to push hard, you're trying to get away from them, you're trying to set that pace. And sometimes that pace just takes you off the track a little bit. It's, you're threading the needle there. You don't want to go inside on outside zone 1, but you also don't want to go outside. Clearly outside is worse at the moment because you drop a tire and it can break your car or it can cause you to straighten. So, if you're going to err on the side of caution, I would say maybe stay on the inside a little bit.
Just keep it out there.
Just a couple of inches inside.
So Freddie, and what do we got? Castletown Roach. All right, there we go. So McSweeney giving us some updates there. All right, here we go. Back to the one more time battle. James Dean, Robert Thorne. Let's see if the Ducks like this one, the Mother Ducker. James Dean initiates, Robert Thorne, there we go. Keep it, still flirting with the dirt here. Big angle there from James Dean. He counters Robert Thorne. He's talking about, does he have the power? And it seems like he does. Does he have the angle? Does he mimic it? And again, I want to take a look at James Dean. The transition outside zone 2 was a little delayed. TBD, we will find out from James Dean, Castletown Roach's own. So taking a look. Again, Robert Thorne still had a smile on his face, says, want to prove that we have the power. He obviously has the talent. Looks like he put it together here. Let's take a look at it once again. Take a look at James Dean's transition, 1 to 2.
All right, nice initiation, goes long on outside zone 1 and had to drive back across the track to get to zone 2. So that's not ideal from James Dean, but right there, lower angle as he comes to outside zone 3, gets into 3 pretty well. Zone 4 he did pretty well.
Yeah.
He did 4 pretty well. So let's look at the chase a little bit more closely now. Robert Thorne right here doesn't get into outside zone 1 until later on, but definitely straightens up there in the chase position, and we're gonna have to see who's to blame for that, if it is actually Thorne's fault or if it's because James Dean went really wide and long on 1 and then had to come across the track. But that definitely was a tricky little area right there.
All right, well, we got the Ford Mustangs in the building and a longtime Ford employee. Shout out to Charlie and Mickey Mattis, the Mattis boys watching. Definitely hot out here in St. Louis, but thanks for tuning in. Comfort of your own home if you're watching, but those fans enduring the heat, definitely getting a great show here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Here we go, let's see what Robert Thorne's got as he leads James Dean. It's all Von Gittin Jr., he's watching at home, cheering him on. Boss man says give it to him, but Robert Thorne's gonna fight back. He's gonna stick the Thorne in. What do we got? Into that second outside zone. Robert Thorne, good angle, looking very consistent. You can see rock solid here, that third outside zone. Now into the final outside zone. How are they going to manage? Thorne puts it right in there. I'll tell you what, Robert Thorne, James Dean, he does get a little frisky there towards the end, but Robert Thorne is looking solid. He is absolutely on rails. Watch this again. You know, if you focus on Thorne, a really high qualifying run, if you ask me.
Yeah, that was a great lead run from Thorne. Gets the car to angle nicely in zone 1, gets right to the edge of the track, doesn't drop off the track. That's really important right now. In the chase position, look where James Dean is. He's not really filling outside zone 2, gets back online through outside zone 3, mimicking what Thorne is doing through there. And great job from Thorne through 4 as well. Dean slightly on a tighter line. And let's look at outside zone 1 again as they get to angle here. So Dean does get online through zone 1, does mimic what he's doing, but right here through zone 2, he makes a pretty big compromise as he comes into zone 2 in the chase position to maintain that proximity. Didn't really match the line, didn't get out wide, and then right here, Dean's a little bit on the inside, but not too much. But I think it's going to come down to that run 1 error. I think it seems like Dean went really long and really wide on outside zone 1 and had to drive all the way across the track, giving Thorne nowhere really to go in that situation. So
you could see the pits over there. That's Josh Love and some of the other drivers cheering him on. Here's the side by side. Let's look at James Dean up front, like you said, that delay, that transition 1 to 2, right?
Look how long he goes on zone 1. He goes on into the dirt way long, and then kind of slows down and parks it is a big word, but definitely decels, pointing in the wrong direction. And Thorne in the chase position doesn't really have anywhere to go in that situation. You're expecting the lead driver to maintain momentum, maintain pace until they transition for zone number 2. But in this case, because he dropped the tire near the end of outside zone 1, James didn't really have anywhere to go at that point because the track sort of, the edge of the track kept him out wide. He went really long. And like I said, instead of transitioning like he should have to, he had to drive all the way across the track, cutting off Thorne.
What does the duck think?
I don't know. Ask the duck. Yeah. What does he think?
Ducky, what do you got?
What's his name? Fo?
Fo the duck, the mother ducker. Mother ducker, you're the one. It's just going to go right off the duck's back regardless. All right, so against fellow competitors and crew in the pits. Let's slide him left for James Dean, 3-time champion, and Robert Thorne, a rookie and pro, gets the win. Robert Thorne takes out Orlando. So it can still be a 4P, but it will not be James Dean. Crazy. There it is. So a little bit of a, I don't call it upset because Robert Thorne definitely talented. But right now, Simon Olsen going against Jeff Jones. Simon Olsen, field suspension, GT radial S chassis into that second outside. Oh, Jeff Jones comes out of drift. That's definitely going to hurt him here. That Evo AutoWorks Nissan 370Z. Simon Olsen continues on, and that's going to be an incomplete for Jeff Jones. Simon looking so comfortable. Again, another confidence booster for Simon Olsen. So there it is. Little sip there, and Josh Love and Robert Thorne, they are pitting up this year. So again, the team celebrating it.
All right, Olsen in the lead position, gets the car to angle nicely. Jeff Jones is there with him, but not quite as wide in zone 1 as they transition for 2. Look at the attitude of Jones's car. He kind of over-rotated the car, pulled the angle way out of the car through outside zone 2, wasn't on the right line, but gets back on it through 3 and does a good job through there. But in 4, isn't quite as wide as he should be. You can see that finish line is where the cones are, not all the way over to the bank. It's a little bit shorter than that. So look at Jeff Jones here. Misses outside zone number 2. Reduces the angle. I don't think he went straight, but it sure was close. And then he gets back online right here, transitions the car for 4, but doesn't go as wide as Simon. And then you see the tall cone there, and then the yellow cone on the inside.
Yep.
Those are demarking there the finish line. So the finish line does not go all the way to the bottom of the bank. It's a little bit shorter than that, just for ease of the cars getting off the track. We don't want them at angle going up on the bank. There are a lot of huge divots in the track there from previous years where cars' wheels have just taken a chunk out of the pavement. They've had to fix it. So we'd rather avoid that, and we'd also rather avoid cars braking, trying to go over that with angle. So we've shortened the finish line up by about, 30 feet maybe?
All right, so Jeff Jones, again, with that straightening out. Simon Olsen continued on through the course. So let's see what we got here from Jeff Jones, that Evil Auto Works GT Radial. Big Drift Energy Nissan 370Z. Does fill all of that first outside zone. Simon Olsen getting bathed in the smoke. Now the second outside zone. Simon Olsen kind of tempering and dialing him back a little bit. He knows he doesn't need to be right there on the door, but he does need to be aggressive. And it looks like, unfortunately for Jeff Jones, the Evil Auto Works out of Redlands, California. You know, with that mistake, you see him peeling out and taking off here. But that's, I think, going to be over for Jeff Jones.
I think that error that he made in outside zone 2, being offline the way he was in the chase position, and also losing angle in a significant way the way he did, is going to kind of seal the deal for Simon Olsen to win this. Simon is not quite as deep in outside zone 1 as Jeff was there, but gets back on the line through outside zone number 2 and is pretty good on proximity through outside zone number 3. Neither one of them gets super deep in outside zone 3. Simon transitions pretty well, mimicking that transition point, timing through between outside zone 3 and outside zone 4, and is on a really good line through outside zone 4. So right there you can see Simon is not as deep. His tire was in the box for the majority of outside zone number 1, but just not as deep as Jeff was. And then through outside zone number 3 right here, they're both in the box, but of course not quite as deep as Olsen, but really maintaining proximity and doing a good job through outside zone 4.
All right, let's see who we got with the victory. You have to assume it's going to slide left for Olsen, and let's make it official. Simon Olsen gets the win after he gets second place in New Jersey. Again, a lot on to go against. We'll find out in just a moment. Here we go. We are seeing Jonathan Castro, Dominican's finest, going against RCP, Rome Charpentier, in the second outside zone. That LTH Mobile 1 DR driver Castro into this third outside zone. Really dialed. Really well done there from Jonathan Castro. Seems that this track suits him very well and cannot shake the garagistic BMW of Rome Charpentier. Pretty straightforward battle, great placement by Castro. 2 more battles left, one of these being the 2. So look at him, Simon Olsen. It's hot for this Norwegian, man. He's a Viking. He's got to be sweating out there.
Replay time.
Yep.
Castro did a great job of getting on the edge of the track but not going over it, which led him to put together a pretty decent run here. In the chase position, Charpentier is not really filling outside zone 2, not really filling outside zone 3 in the chase position either. Castro is doing a decent job in the lead position of putting his car where it should be. He did a great job in outside zone 4. These drivers need to be fast and precise, and precision right now is going to pay off in a big way because of that outside zone 1 edge of track and outside zone 4 as well. You want to get real close to the edge but not go over, because it can have disastrous consequences to your event proceedings here. So Castro, I think, did a great job of positioning his car. In the chase position, though, Charpentier did have a couple of issues with line. He wasn't really filling the line. He was making some compromises to maintain that proximity, and now that they swapped roles, Castro just needs to stay on line, stay relatively close, and in the lead position, Rome has to be precise. Don't drop tires in zone 1 and zone 4, but get close to the edge all around the track.
Limit on the edge. Let's see, Rome Charpentier garagistic. BMW throws it in. Ooh, it takes a little bit of angle out of it, and he had kind of a beeline, a very unique line there, going to that second outside zone. That might have thrown off Castro. I want to back it up. We'll take a look at different angles here. But now Castro is shallowing up on all of the outside zones. Now finally into that last outside zone. He definitely has the proximity. Bangs the door of Rome Charpentier. That was a big hit. That was
dramatic finish.
Yeah, door to door. Fortunately, it is the second battle, so we will have a verdict here. But a lot of analyzation here. Let's take a look on that first outside zone 1. It was a unique line that we really haven't seen before with Rome out front.
Well, it looked like when Rome threw the car at angle, it dripped up and lost angle and speed, and that threw Castro off completely. Castro's now trying to catch up, trying to get back online, trying to get back on proximity as well, and he had to make some compromises to do it, but it looks like it came down to Rome throwing the car. I don't know what happened there. The car seemed to grip up in a big way. When he initiated the car, got the car to the zone, it didn't continue kind of floating through the zone on throttle. It just gripped up and, like you said, took a beeline towards outside zone number 2, which is not ideal, not what we're looking for, and definitely not what Jonathan Castro was expecting, being in the chase position there. And they did have a little bump coming up the banking.
Little.
Yeah, just a little bump. It's no big deal.
How's that feel, huh? Is that little? Is that little, Ryan?
For everyone out there, Jared is pushing me now.
Where's Peter when you need it, right? Big animals picking on you.
I need Big Brother over here.
All right. Well, again, Worldwide Technology Raceway. Temps, are they cooling down? I don't really know. We're up here in a suite. It is, I'll admit, a little AC, but you can see Castro here. All right, looks like he's giving a little love here. Maybe saying sorry, I don't know, but the Vitor tires, Garagistic Pedal Commander BMW. You can see Castro having some words. All right, so don't know exactly, no real body language there that we could read. But we are seeing them get out of the car, both of them getting out of the car, actually. Maybe assessing the damage here. Got to jump back in there, boys. Maybe need some help getting out. Yeah, they hit, like I said, it was a pretty hard hit.
Yeah, we're watching some replays on our little replay screen to see exactly what happened and who deserves the win here. Going through the different runs. I think maybe a couple of votes are in. Mine's in.
All right, what do you, the fans, think? Where my Jonathan Castro fans at? Make some noise. Jonathan Castro from DR, from Dominican Republic. And then you got where my RCP, Rome Charpentier fans at. RCP, there you go, got a few there. Coming all the way from Southern California. Rome making a lot of noise over the years. Both these guys outside of the car. I don't know. Do those look like kind of interjections there? I don't know. I don't know if they're mad at each other or they're just kind of dealing with it right now. I don't know.
I'm not going to read too much into it.
I got to read. Oh, here we go. And look at this. Jonathan Castro gets the win. Again, 2-1. The GT Radio Power Stop. S15 of Ryan Literal chasing him down. Good initiate. Ooh, just as I say that, he goes into the dirt, dropping that tire there, Travis Reeder. And look at Ryan Literal. Very aggressive in the chase position, just allowed him to slip on by, walk on by into that second outside zone. Now transitioning into that final outside zone, and there you go. So again, the finish line is just there at the end. You can see the red and white strips, and there's that white inside cone. That is the finish line. So let's take a look at it again here. Montaigne.
Decent initiation from both of them. Reeder does drop that tire in outside zone 1, but it doesn't seem to affect him too much. And look at the way Literal did that transition. Sick. He was so close right there. Very precise. Literal misses outside zone number 3 somewhat, whereas Reeder seems to be in it and doing a good job. Great job in outside zone 4 from both of them. Let's watch this from the drone this time, the high-speed drone. So right there, you can see Literal's in the box doing a great job. But watch this transition. Woo, nice and close. That was so tight. And in the chase position, Literal's doing a great job of positioning his car. He does get into the box there in outside zone number 3, but not quite as deep as Reeder does. And same thing for outside zone 4. But I think Literal put together a pretty solid chase right there, especially positioning himself for outside zone number 2 and getting so close on that transition.
Okay, so here we are seeing Ryan Literal out front, Power Stop, Collab. S15. And Travis Reeder, T-Rav. Here we go. And here we go, changing into the position, like I said, in outside zone 1, Ryan Literal into outside zone 2. Big angle from Ryan Literal. Now into that third outside zone. This is a great driving showing by Ryan Literal, the best we've probably seen so far. Filling all the outside zone for Travis Reeder. Drops into formation at Nicholas BMW. Again, Travis, he was giving it to him, but I'll tell you what, you can't have a good chase run unless you have a good lead run, and Literal put the car in all the right places.
Yeah, his initiation wasn't as snappy as Reeder's was on his lead run, but he did get the car to angle, got it in the box. Right there, he kind of has a late transition into outside zone number 2 and has to sort of not park the car, but rotate it right in place. And it gives Reeder the opportunity to get close. And then as they go through 4, very similar to what Reeder did in his lead, then Reeder's right there next to Ryan. So let's watch this initiation. You can see there, not the snappiest initiation, but his line is great in the lead position. Transition right there. Got himself into outside zone number 2. Looked more dramatic from up in the sky from the high drone. But as we watch here on the action drone, it seems like it's a really great run from Ryan Literal in the lead position.
All right, do we have a victor, Reeder or Literal? Final battle of our Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32. Again, local time just about 6:30, meaning we got 2 hours of downtime for you to collect your thoughts. All the drivers get their cars prepped, get their minds right. The fans could go cruise the pits, the paddock, high fives and handshakes all around for a variety of different drivers. Again, Taguchi versus Forsberg. We'll walk you through that paddock. As we are live.
No.
We're up here. We're up
Coming
here.
for
I know.
us.
Look at this. They're coming. They're coming right for us. This is the judges' stand. It's not pretty, but it's all ours. So again, sliding left for Rita, right for Ryan Literal, and Ryan Literal one more time and gets the win. So it looks like Ryan Lontaine and Chris Yule side with Ryan Literal. Very similar.